And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. I am Matt Hatfield. I am joined by the Eagle basketball coach, Ed Young. And also we have with us the reigning state champion coach of the South Lake Seahawks Class 6, Mike Desmond. His team a winner on Friday night over the Landstown Eagles 56-50 as he's going back to the title game. Coach, good morning. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us. And we hope you're feeling better because from all reports, it sounds like you were on your deathbed on Monday or Tuesday, and somehow, some way you've gotten alive here to join us on the program. So thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be on the show. It's great to get back down to VCU. And yes, it was not over exaggerated. I wasn't in the best shape. I know I caught some grief from some people about, suck it up and go be tough. But I think the tougher decision was not to be around my kids, not to get someone who actually has to play the game sick. And, shout out to Damon Johnson, who once again did just an excellent job coaching for me. I had the towel around my face and I'm telling, Damon, hey, let's do this. And then using his voice to echo my thoughts. He does a great job coaching, but Tuesday night, there were a couple times where I stood up to cuss out Merrick or Mackay and almost fell over and I had to grab Damon. So he was not just a coaching support, but an actual physical support. So I didn't fall and hit the ground.
Yeah, I want to get into some of those key guys like Merrick Reelstone, who's one of Ed's favorites, got a chance to call your game in our Virginia Preps Classic against Maury. Of course, you got the Michigan State recruit and Jordan Scott and many others on your team. But we have to begin, Coach, with you came on our show, or at least some comments to our show, I think last summer about you needed to have Ed Young crowd surf if you came down and played in the Classic and won. Now, you came down and won. Ed didn't get crowd surfed by your fans, so we'll put it out there now. If you're able to beat C.G. Woodson next Saturday, can your diehard South Lakes fans crowd surf him? We would love to get that on film. That would be so awesome to have.
I think if somehow we figure out how to beat Woodson, anything's possible. So my kids in the crowd could probably figure out how to get Ed up in the crowd surfing.
I like it. There we go.
See, Mike, first of all, Mike, congrats. And last on the win, getting back into the championship game. I just want you to understand the way you felt the last few days is how I have to feel every time I'm with this nut job, whether it's on here or we got to do a game together. I've got to keep telling people to understand how he is. Don't get on him. Don't bash him. And I've had people say, bless you because you'll have a spot in heaven because you've been in hell dealing with him.
That's so mean.
In life, everybody has to bear a cross, and he happens to be the one I have to bear. So I'm okay with it, but I want you to know how you felt is what I go through with this dude.
I believe it.
As far see the crowd, this guy would have a bet where I'd have to stand on I-95 in the middle of rush hour traffic and see if he cannot be hit. He comes up with some of the dumbest things that I have to do and never him.
Crowd served. The people would love it. It'd be awesome. It'd be great. We want good content. That's good
But
content.
you have to crowd serve dudes like Dick Vitale, lightweight guys. I'm not – when I wrestled, I was heavyweight. So if I go up and somebody gets hurt, who's going to pay that insurance claim? It ain't going to be me.
Okay.
And this nut job here, when it comes to money, yeah, he gone. He got nothing.
You too.
Well, while we're having some levity, let's dig into your win last night, beating Landstown 56-50. And I want to go back actually before that. You guys, I watched a couple of games on NFHS. You lost to Westfield, and you actually had the comment to us after you beat Maury in our Classic that, you felt Westfield was, the best team in your district. There was a lot of people that were feeling that way. They were coming, really good team. Kevin Harris does an outstanding job, won a couple state titles at Centerville, and he's got a lot of pieces coming back for next season. And they beat you a couple times. But I felt like the second time that game was right there for you. What changed as you went from the end of regionals, or the end of district tournament to regionals, and now the playoff journey to try to go get a second championship began? Because it felt like your team picked up its intensity and focus level and took it to a new notch.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's group is great, and they are young, and they have so much individual talent, and they were hungry for us. You know, we are a team that, I mean, a lot of those kids grew up playing AAU with Jordan, so they know each other. The families know each other. They just had this hunger that we just didn't match. We just didn't match the intensity. They wanted that game more, and maybe the loss was good for us and the win was bad for them. It kind of changed us mentally after that game about recognizing consistency, which we try to preach to this group, especially this group all year. But you know, the big difference in the regional finals is Jordan was fantastic. You know, he doesn't score 30 points every night, and people think he should, but he affects the game every single night. And he came out scoring first, and I think that took the pressure off the rest of our guys. You know, Jordan goes 14-0 on them. We get a good lead. They're young, and now they got to figure out how to come back from that when they're looking at a monster like Jordan and he's playing like a monster. You know, so that game, Westfield made a great comeback in the second half. Isaiah Brown started knocking down threes, but we were always able to have just one play at the right time to kind of reestablish a lead, no matter how big or small it was. And then in the second half, we just controlled things, and we were great on the glass that night. And they had hurt us on the glass the 3 previous games.
Talking with Mike Desmond, head basketball coach of the reigning Class 6 state champion South Lake Seahawks. His team going back to the title game again. They're 26-4 on the season. You see it on the bracket, taking on number 1 seed CG Woodson, who's 25-4, coming up on Saturday, March the 15th, a week from today, at VCU in Richmond, after Woodson took down Oscar Smith 58-46, and the Seahawks bounced Landstown, a really good team, 56-50 in the semifinals. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk, streaming all over the web, CoVA Sports TV and beyond. Ed.
Hey, Mike, I want to kind of go way back. You win the state title last year, and you're coaching a great one in Jordan Scott, a kid that, you know, all American status, you know, Division I commit, Michigan State. I got to ask you for the people that are listening, how is it to coach a kid with that type of notoriety, and then you've got to play him into the rest of your squad? And I've seen your squad play. You've got some other really good kids. The tall,
Milston,
yeah, tall fella, man. I loved him down here, and when you were playing Maury, he really caught my attention. But how is it when you coach somebody like Jordan, and then you got to incorporate him into your team stuff, what Mike Desmond needs to be done, but at the same time allow him to be who he is with the notoriety that he has? Kind of give us that dynamic.
This is going to be such a boring answer. Jordan makes it easy. Jordan is a team first guy. So despite all the accolades and things that people have thrust on him or things that he's earned, Jordan's never asked me, nor his family, hey, I need to do this. I want to do this. He's an old school player, no ego in it. Yes, sir. No, sir. Eye contact, and just gets the job done. It's not hard to coach him. It's been harder to coach other guys with way less talent, way less notoriety, because they want to be more than what they just need to be. Jordan just plays the game. It's been the most easy superstar I think anyone could have hoped to coach, because you could tell Jordan, hey, tonight, don't shoot, don't rebound, just stand in the corner and tie your shoes. And he'll go, well, if that's going to help us win, I'm going to do that. So it's been simple to coach him. He's made it simple to coach him. And because he's a team first guy, he doesn't just hold himself like, oh, I'm Jordan Scott, I'm better than everyone. He makes the right pass. He makes the right basketball decision. He's good with, letting other guys shine. And he doesn't force anything. So it's been simple, man. There's no easiest kid to coach, doesn't ask for anything, just plays.
Yeah, I know a lot of times people will say when you're coaching somebody that good, how is it when you incorporate the rest of the team? And I had thought when I saw you play, there is none of that. Like he stands out and there's confrontation with other players or whatever. I didn't see any of that either. And what little I know of you and your background, I just kind of figured if this kid is playing right now, he's following what Mike Desmond needs to be done without a whole lot having to be said. Because as you made it, I love that terminology. He's an old school type player. Coach whatever needs to be done. His parents were great players too, because sometimes, as we know as coaches, that can be an issue where they think they know more than what we do. And many a times I've had some players with those type of parents, and I would say, look, right now I'm coaching him. Okay, when he's home and when he was little and you coached him, that's fine. But let me coach him now and not try to project what you guys did on him as to what and where he should be going, because obviously he's a different style player than like when his dad played in that, and his mom was a tremendous player too. As we go along right now on this, you won the state title. You come into this season with that target on your back. Explain that dynamic in terms of how did you feel coming into the season as to what it was like being the state champion, knowing that you probably like to repeat. Anything that geared your mind in a certain way with that dynamic?
No, so my internet's kind of bad, so it was kind of choppy. I think you said, what was kind of the mindset after last year for this year, just to
coming into this year, right? As a defending state champion, where a lot of people still thought you're good enough, you can repeat it again, and sometimes that extra pressure, especially on the kids, can be detrimental to that goal. How did you handle that throughout the season?
We squashed that real fast, right? We lost 11 guys, and we made it very clear to this group, not named Jordan Scott. None of y'all really played last year. Toshi Elston had great moments the last maybe 2 to 3 weeks of the season. Merrick didn't play in a bunch of close, important games last year. So we made it very clear to this group, you are not defending anything. You inherited these things. And for you to have your own legacy, your own identity, you can't hang around and say, oh, we're defending this, we're defending that, because this group's not. This group has had to earn their own way, proving many people wrong, including myself. I didn't think we had a shot in hell of repeating, let alone, we're here. And that shocks me tremendously. Getting here with this group is almost as satisfying as winning it all with the group that we knew last year had the ability to do it. So there was never any pressure or talk about defending this title or that title, because this group hadn't won those titles. It wasn't theirs to defend.
A fair way of looking at it. And so far, so good, as you guys are sitting at 26-4, getting ready to take on CG Woodson coming up at the Siegel Center a week from today, March the 15th, in the nightcap of the state tournament. And let's go back to last night and look ahead to your game coming up. You play Landstown. I know you have a ton of respect for Dwight Robinson, where his Eagles do. He just a couple of freshmen. Yeah, Damian Robinson, his son, Rashad Shaw, who's really good. And I'm sure you're sitting there going, my gosh, these guys are freshmen. The rest of the state's got to deal with these guys in the years to come. But take us through sort of your game plan and attacking it, because they're known for defense. And they were right there with you early on, and they made a late comeback to get it a little close late. What were some of the key things that you outlined to keep them at bay and not let them get momentum? Certainly being at home and having that crowd behind you helped a good deal, but you also have some guys like Jordan and others that have been in some big moments too.
I think, Sherman Rivers said it when he was on Julian's show last week. Some of the things that Lansdowne does that can cause a lot of people fits. We weren't able to stop it, but we can neutralize it because we have a 6'8" press breaker, and he can bring it up. He can stand in the middle, and he's always open. And because he's a willing passer, he can then turn and throw the ball to the next open guy. Dwight's a legend, man. And those dudes are legit young, and they're going to be back in the situation over and over. Hopefully they all stay. I really hope they all stay together and continue to build on just an excellent season. People always say a team arrives early. They may arrive 2 years early, right? But they're 7-5-7 team that played, John Marshall fairly close, played Oscar Smith close, and they're kids, and they're battle tested. They're super skilled. I thought maybe at times last night, our overall experience, helped out in that situation. Playing in a packed house in Ruston is different. And you can play in a lot of packed places and you'll get the same kind of energy. But, we had a great crowd. And this is one of those things where you wish that there could be a neutral site for the Final Four. You really do. And, the coaches that win these games at home, we're not going to complain that it was at home, but we can't lie and say that it was an advantage. And the coaches that lose these games on the road, they can't use that as an excuse that, it was at their place. But at the same time, it was at the other team's place. So I wish VHSL, there has to be a college or some venue in between here and there that the Final Four games will be played at. There just has to be. And whatever it takes to get that done, we need people in all sports, but I'll just stay in my realm of basketball. We need basketball people making basketball decisions. And to have that environment, to have Woodson and Oscar Smith and Landstown and South Lakes all at one neutral site, I mean, man, that'd been special. That would have been special. And hopefully that's one thing that we can figure out how to do right for basketball. But Dwight's son's an excellent player. Dwight's team, they're young, they're dangerous. And we kind of said, they're so young, it can go one of two ways. They may be too young to realize the moment and play out of their mind great, or they may be too young and they realize the moment and make some mistakes they normally won't.
You hit on a lot of good things there, Coach, because you're bringing up something. We got Doug Craig in the next hour of the show coming on, and he had to go down to the 7.5, 7.4 plus hours like Landstown to go up there. Ed and I agree with you totally that whether it's you hosting or someone else hosting, they're going to talk about it in Class 5. Woodside having to play Green Run, though it's the same area code. They had to go across the water. We'd love for it all to be in one spot where we can see all the games. It'd be great for the kids to have that special atmosphere. And you also did something that Ed talked about. I want Ed to jump in here with it when we made our picks last week. And I'll admit, I got wrong. I thought Smith would get Woodson by a smidge. Thought Woodson could win just because of that home court edge, and it could. They were known for their third quarters. And picked you guys over Landstown and had you guys over Smith in the final. But Ed, you talked about it. The big thing you thought was the length of Jordan and Merrick at 6'7", 6'8", as ability to be playmakers, score or distribute, could affect Landstown in a close game. But these four teams, just like a lot of the divisions, outside of John Marshall, was the king of Class 2, but Class 6, Class 5, Class 4, a lot of these four teams, you're so evenly matched, and it'd be so great for the fans in the sport to have it in one venue. And hopefully this coaches association that Chad over at Spotswood, Chad Edwards, is forming with a lot of you coaches involved, veteran coaches like yourself and Ed, who's been coaching before. Others will help get the sport to grow and have some different changes that will help not just the kids, but the game in general.
Well, Mike, you kind of hit on a nerve. There's been a lot of talk.
I do that.
Social media, people complaining left and right. And I try to stay out of it unless I get asked, but I had to jump in on a couple of things on Facebook because people are so all over the place. You still got a ton of people who say, why the hell can't we go back to single A, double A, triple A? And my comment is that's never going to happen. Me personally, I don't want it to happen if it's not going to happen with football. Now, I've already been told it will never happen with football. Then, okay, then why the other sport's going to change? 6 champions is not watered down. I'll go to 5. I'll go to 4. Okay, I don't have a problem with that.
4 would be a good number. 4 would be a good number. Yeah.
Yeah, but here, if I'm the czar of basketball in the state of Virginia, here's what I think. People talk about home court advantage. You guys win your district. That should mean something. Okay, first round region game, your site, as long as your gym is big enough. And we throw that big enough in there because there are some places people can't get into because it's jam-packed. So I don't mind first round being a coach myself. I want every damn round, including state championship on my own floor. We all do. Mike does too. But that first round I can see. Now we get semifinals of the regionals. I want a college court. And my thinking becomes somebody out of this region is going to the state tournament, which happens to be at VCU Siegel Center, college court, different background, blah, blah, blah. So let's start getting them used to it. Regional semis, regional championship, and the entire state tournament should be on a college court, because when they say, well, well, South Lakes was number one. They should be rewarded. Well, wonder if South Lakes is playing number one Landstown. Okay, they're both number ones. So let's put it on a college court. Now, I already know what the VHSL is going to say. Availability, money, usually money, then availability. Yeah. Okay, this is stuff you work out in the summer. Mm-hmm. When basketball's over and at the end of next week, I know you got spring sports, and yeah, they're important. But now you start working out a year ahead what are the venues in the state of Virginia we can use?
Well, a quick pause, Ed. We had super sites. Remember, we've done games before. You know this, Mike. We should be having games at George Mason, Old Dominion, Hampton, other college facilities that they all can't be at VCU for one specific day.
Right. You can play. I know years ago when I won a state title in the late 80s, we had the boys at JMU and I think the girls at UVA. Mm-hmm. And
it was 87, right? It was 86. 87,
yeah, 87. Right? I don't care if it stretches it out too long. It's the state tournament. What else are you going to spend time? Even if you got to play, and I'm not big on this, if you have to play afternoon games, get the kids out of school, close the school down for a day. Everybody
they have to if they're traveling up to Oscar Smith or South Lakes. They have to get out anyway because you can't make that trip in 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, Doug left at 11 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah. And I imagine Dwight probably had to leave at about 12 or 1 for you guys. And I remember years ago, this is even worse, Coach, when you had Dwight's region 6A, they had to play Franklin County on a Wednesday night, 4 hours away. I mean, just some of the rhyme and reason for things. And your region's different, but every region's got different. There's not a lot of universal set of things. That's also bothers me. You might be in class 6, someone's in class 5, and one region does it one way or less games. The other region has this way. So it can be viewed as a competitive advantage or disadvantage for whoever it is, regardless of what area code they're from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's important to make the state tournament stand out. Let those kids have an experience of state tournament. Playing on your home court in a state tournament, that to me is no state experience at all. It's just another home game. Mm-hmm. So get them to I know it costs money and all that too, but again, state tournament we're talking about. This is what you go all out for. And other states do it. So Virginia, I say to you, go see what these other states are doing, mix and match, whatever it can be. But I just think when you get to a certain point, it should be neutral floor, period. And it should be the big courts because that's where you're going to play. To me, it's common sense. And for people to say, well, we can't do that, it costs money. Okay, but, you're charging $10, $11, $12 at the door for these games from regionals on. Okay,
14.
You got money somewhere.
$14.
Right. Now, of course, me and this dude here, we sneak in the back door. He puts on a janitor costume and says, I'm here to clean the floor, and they let him in. But no, it really needs to be highlighted because it needs to be a state tournament experience, not a one-game situation. You guys are going to the state again, and, that'll be a state experience. But previous for this year, it isn't. That's just me.
Coach, before we let you run, because I know your time is precious, and I hope you didn't freeze up there on your computer. But I got one more for me.
No, not wrong. I mean, again, it's a clear advantage, but also it's a disadvantage for all because
Coach, did we lose you? I think I think you froze up there for a second. We'll see if we can reconnect with Mike.
Am I back?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, we lost you for a second. You were talking about. Go ahead and continue on with your point there.
You were having some
connectivity issues. Yeah, go ahead. You were making a comment. Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Your internet was lagging. We got you now. Go ahead. You were commenting about the whole logistics of things, if you can. Go ahead.
Could Mike hear us?
I don't know. It might be a few seconds behind. We're having some technical issues, but we'll iron them out here in a second. Hopefully we'll get him back reconnected to finish up here with us on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. And when we do, we'll get him back on here with us in a moment. But talking about the state tournament, I do want to finish up with Mike on his game with Woodson coming up because we have some other guests coming on, including Doug Craig. We've also got the interviews with Kenny Harris of Green Run, Cash Jackson, and David Trey Miller, as well as Greg Maynard of Albemarle. All right, we got Coach Desmond back with us. I think we do. Coach, you're good with us. Sorry about that. We're having some technical issues, but you were making a point there following up what we were talking about in terms of the whole state tournament logistics and things before we dig in on your game with Woodson and let you run here. Go ahead.
No, I don't remember what I was saying. We can just move on to Woodson.
Oh, you're good. Well, you played them. Okay, let's do that then. You played them in the season opener, a game that you won. It was so long ago. I don't know that it has any bearing or meaning whatsoever. Back on December the 3rd, 73-51. They've obviously changed. So have you guys. So help us talking heads out with, we do the keys to victory on the NFHS network. What are a couple of keys, 2 or 3 of them for South Lakes to get it done and win back-to-back and beat a very, very good Woodson squad?
I mean, yikes. Jordan's going to have to be great. Not just good, he's going to have to be great. Merrick and Toshi have to be great. CJ and Alec have to be great. Brady and Mackay and whomever else we throw in there has to be great. Woodson's just the complete team, man. And in a different, they remind me of my group last year, but in a little bit of a different way. But they're just a complete team. So we'd have to shoot the ball well. We'd have to rebound the ball well, and we would have to play defense like we haven't all year against that group that Doug has.
So, Ed, if I understand him right, it sounds like he's got to score more points than another team, and he'll come out on top.
Mike's not going to divulge anything right now. He knows exactly how he wants to play Woodson. He's already played him before. Doug's sitting in the background somewhere with his notepad and whatever, I think. But, I watched him last night, and he did a great job of taking Smith out of what they normally like to do. Smith could not get real comfortable scoring, and Smith, athletic as can be. They got all 5 guys who can rip it and run. That's a big thing they do. Their press is dynamite. It did not, as I watched Doug last night, when it got a little hairy for him, doggone guy didn't take a timeout at all. He just was calm about it, made a couple of substitutions. Doug didn't go deep into his bench, which could hurt him against your squad. But his kids just knew how to react. And Chilton, the point guard, who I love to death, he picked that second foul up in the second quarter, had to come out, obviously. And I said, this is where Smith smells blood in the water. It's going to be trouble. And they were able to withstand what Smith threw at them and just held out. The kids they did what I know they can do. They don't panic. They don't give you the ball at will. You're going to have to earn it. And they make they make you uneasy in what you want to do. And again, when we talk to Doug coming up again, I'm going to say, when I watch Mike's team play against Maury, you got a lot of weapons out there. You can put your finger in this hole and stop that leak, but there's another one back here, and you only have so many fingers. So what are you going to do? It's going to be a great matchup. I hope I have the pleasure of announcing it, because I'll have something to say about both coaches, let alone the kids on the floor. And I'm just glad I'm not going against either one of you, because me, when I'm coaching, I'm trying to get W's. I don't want none of those L's. And this year's been great for me because I ain't lost a game yet. I'm like 37-0. It's a great year for me.
No, you've been to more than 37 games, by the way. He's been to like twice as many as me, Mike, because I have to watch a lot because I'm doing broadcasting for ODU. He's been to like 3 games a night.
I've learned. I've picked up a lot this year. I've watched coaches while the play is going on. I've kept my eye on coaches only. I've watched bench decorum. I've watched why a timeout, why not a timeout? Because I said to myself last night, hey, Doug, you want me to call a timeout for you? What are you doing? But he knew his squad. He knew what he was doing. So, and I'm learning. I'm re-educating. So if I get that opportunity to come back in there, I want to be a little bit better than what I've been in the past too.
I mean, Doug's group is seasoned, and that's why he doesn't have to take some of those timeouts, because he's got such a seasoned group. And, Kalen, yeah, he's a young superstar. But that backcourt, right? Theo Burke, it's no joke. The kid had like 25 in the regional finals. And then Noah was the player of the year in that region. And, the Taylor kid inside, he was an outside guy, experience. And then the kid, Carrello, I butchered 13's name, the lefty. But that dude is unsung hero for him, and people don't talk about him and Taylor enough because the big 3 get all the headlines. Yeah. But 13, man, the lefty, he can knock down shots, he can put the ball on the deck, and if you're not on point, that dude can put up a sneaky 20 on you. And again, you have this great backcourt of Kalen and Theo where, you know, they're star players. And again, Noah's a huge X factor because when Noah's great. You know, and the kid Morgan off the bench, right? Long, athletic, shot blocker, scorer. But when you have a team, and I watched Doug's game already twice now. When it's getting chaotic and turnovers are happening, a lesser team without that kind of mental fortitude that Woodson has, they were going to crumble.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't. They didn't react. They turn it over, next play. They turn it over, next play, let's go get our own turnover. And you just have this seasoned group. You have a seasoned coach in Doug who's won a championship, has always had good teams, plays in a tough schedule. So, yeah, I mean, Doug was cool and calm because he knew he had the best players on the floor, the best team. And they've seen this. They've been there. They've done that. They've taken L's. They've taken wins. Again, they're a complete team. They are dangerous for anybody.
Well, Coach, it should be a fun one next Saturday night. We're looking forward to it at the Siegel Center in Richmond. 26-4 South Lakes, 25-4 CG Woodson. Winner takes the state championship for 2024-2025 high school hoops in Class 6 Virginia High School League. Always a pleasure, my friend. We look forward to seeing you next week. And go get those guys ready there at South Lakes, the rowdy crowd base, so we can possibly crowd surf Ed. I might tell Doug to crowd surf if they win. So I just want to see Ed get crowd surf, regardless of who wins. That's all I care.
Look, we'll get them to crowd surf and tell Doug I said go get a haircut, man. Tell him I said get a haircut.
Yeah, no, I got to get on him too because when I saw him, first time I saw him in the season, he had a good, well-kept beard, whatever. Now it's James Harden. I said, I wanted to say to him, you know, you and I could be tag team partners for the WWE,
right?
Because he looks like one of those pro wrestlers. So, you know, you got the good shave, clean look. We know who you are. Doug is in hiding with the beard and everything and whatever else, and he's all over the place. But yeah, WWE needs to call on him. I already got his nickname too, the Beast. The Beast. He would be perfect. You know.
That reminds me for our audience to let you go. You have Jordan Scott, whose nickname is Fuzzy. Are you allowed to divulge what his nickname is Fuzzy for the audience out there?
Sure. His going into his freshman year. You know, he comes to one of the workouts and there's this skinny little dude standing over on the side stretching and his hair's all over the place. I think he has some fuzz on him. And I don't know, I mean, it looked like a little fuzzball. So I saw calling him Fuzzy. Ironically, when Christy found out, it brought her to tears because that was her nickname from her father years ago.
Really?
And it was never discussed. It just happened, and yeah, Fuzzy, it just stuck, man. Fuzzy's Fuzzy.
There you go. So we'll see Fuzzy and the Seahawks take on Doug and the Cavaliers.
The Beast.
The Beast and the Cavaliers. There you go. Fuzzy versus the Beast. It'll be fun next Saturday night. Always a pleasure, Mike. Good luck to you and your guys, and we'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
See you up there, Mike. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Head basketball coach Mike Desmond with us here on 7-5.